So the new Mario vs. Donkey Kong game just came out for the Switch, and unfortunately I'm broke, so I can't afford it yet. But in a few weeks, if this video does well, then I'll make a video on this too. But for now, I want to talk about the first games, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, and then Mario vs. Donkey Kong 2. Now today we're just talking about the DS games. I'm not going to touch on the Game Boy one. I might do that in another video too, but for now, it's not the topic for today's discussion. Personally, I love the first game. I played it through to the end, I did all the extra levels, and I 100% of the game. That's how much I loved it. However, the second one, I'm not that much a fan of. So today we're going to compare the two and see which one really is the best. The first game has a better completion ranking system. Now in the first game, you had a few tasks to complete. You have to beat the goal score for the trophy, you have to collect the Mario medal, and you also have to collect a card from each level to fully 100% complete it. In the second game, they fully removed the Mario medal. They did keep the cards to collect, but the minigame that it unlocks is a lot shittier now. In the second game, the minigame is just clicking Shy Guys. It's more of like a skill test to see if you have good hand-eye coordination. Whereas in the first game, it was a minifig organizer-based game where you had to draw bridges to make sure they got into the correct boxes, and if you didn't, you'd get a point docking or something like that. It was really fun and actually kept me entertained. There's actual collectibles in the minigames to collect as well, whereas in the second game there are none. You don't even get a star ranking if you complete it. And each level focuses more and more on point score instead of actual collectability. Another thing that kind of irks me is that the minis in the second game no longer interact with the springs on their own. You have to swipe up on them to make them interact with it, and it gets very annoying if you're trying to set up a line of minis and you have to go back and make sure the last one gets on the spring before he passes it. Now I have shitted on the second game quite a lot already, and I have a lot more to come, but I want to give it a little props where it's due. In the first game, once you click the mini, it takes its directed path. It's not going to stray from it, and it doesn't have anything else to do. Where in the second game, if you've made a mistake or you want the Mario to stop or go backwards, you can adjust its direction and if it's going to stop or not. Alright, now back to shitting on it. The second game is the exact same story as the first one. The first one centers around Mario and Pauline opening up their own theme park in correlation to their mini Mario-based toys. And DK gets jealous and steals Pauline, and that's basically what the whole game runs on. You're trying to save the princess with the minis and get through each level and maybe beat Donkey Kong on the way, right? If you can. The second one is pretty much just that as well. Mario and Pauline basically have the same exact toy from last time, and it looks like they're releasing it again. And once again, Donkey Kong is jealous. He steals the princess and takes her to the lair, and wash, rinse, repeat. You have the same exact game with less functionality. The final bosses in the first game were amazing. You had to strategically get each mini up to a button and click it to make something happen to Donkey Kong depending on what level you're on, right? The final boss battle though wasn't that great, where you had to shoot these mini Marios at a Ferris wheel riding Donkey Kong, trying to save Pauline, dodging a few things and collecting a few other things here and there. And it's alright, I mean, it was only one boss fight out of the multiple boss fights that they had throughout the game. However, when they were developing the second game, they must have thought to themselves, yeah, that final boss was pretty good, wasn't it? Because they said fuck it and made every single boss fight one of these mini Mario shooter spree things. It's not fun. It's not nearly as good as the last bosses were, and I'm not personally a fan at all. To me, it seems very, very lazy and just doesn't have the same feel that the first game did. This is also a personal opinion of mine, but I'm not a fan of the level design in the second game versus the first. I like the materials you used in the first game. It kind of gave it that old vintage Mario Donkey Kong feel with the girders and such, and in this game it just doesn't do it for me. It strayed too far from the formula that made it good in the first place and did not really meet my expectations. However, once I get the money scraped together, I'm going to try to get the new Switch version of Mario vs. Donkey Kong to see if that can stack up to the original DS, and if it does, then hallelujah, we're back in business, baby. But that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.